Hey YouTube, James from the Wyvern Watch here. Another deck profile from me. This will be the third I've just uploaded, or third I will upload. First of all, I've got Invoke Dogmatika, and also, what did I profile the first time around? It was my Starry Nights, wasn't it? Yes, so this will be the third one I've done. This is probably my oldest deck. Sorry about the shadow, by the way. I'm working on the lighting, but you'll just have to look at a sort of shadow of my neck for a little while. But also, this is my favourite mat. This is the Appaloosa mat. It's just one of the best looking artworks, I would say. So I just thought I'd use this one for a change. But this one, of course, is Noble Knights. And if anyone has a signature deck for Noble Knights, it's probably me, because I'm probably known most for using it. I've used it for a long time. It's taken many different forms, monsters in and out, and I can never decide which is the best way, but this is my current way, and it has been this way for quite some time. Love this deck, love the artwork, love how it works. Appreciate sometimes it's a little bit linear, but as soon as the Master Rule 5 came out and we've been able to use Xyzs again as much as we want, then all of a sudden makes sense. And of course the addition of Isolde is always good in its own deck, never mind in other warrior decks that might be taking advantage of it. But without further ado, of course, here is the lineup. So first things first, we have still three. Let's try and get the spacing correct. 3 Noble Knight Madrort. So most of you will be fairly familiar with this guy. If you're not familiar with Noble Knights, this guy is your sort of, it will special summon one from the deck in defense position, another Noble Knight with a different name that is, by destroying a Noble Arms card, which is no mean feat in this deck, because obviously a Noble Arms card will come by its own effect back to the field. So that's the sort of Noble Knight little trick, if you like. I'm not going to go too much into the older ones, because these are the older guys. I also run 2 boars to go along with the Madrort, because there's an old combo that works with this guy, which means you can get one of the Noble Knight Xyz monsters out very quickly. But again, it should be old tackle that, and for anyone that's into Noble Knights, they'll know what I'm talking about. This guy's the Searcher, so reveal 3 and add 1 to your hand, and then reveal 3 at Noble Arms, that is. Add 1 to your hand, and then obviously the other 2 go to the grave. One of this guy, very important, this guy, I think. You bring him on, and Noble Knight Dristan, what equips, equip a Noble Arms to him and get a free pop. So it's a pretty good little card that you can take advantage on. It is a mandatory effect, so you need to be careful using it, but it does work most of the time. Free special summon from the hand in most circumstances if you've got a Madrort or a boars on the field, while you control a light normal monster, which of course Madrort is while he's on the field. You can special summon this card from your hand, face up defense position, but that doesn't really matter, because most of the time we're going to be using him for an Isolde play, or indeed an Xyz play. Next card, a little bit later, this one, so a little newer addition, shall we say, to the Noble Knight family. But Noble Knight Brothers, again, a very well-known card now, because this one allows you an extra 2 summons from the hand, assuming you've got them in your hand. And of course, there's always the effect that can recycle your Noble Arms cards from the grave in order to get an extra draw as well. Some of the newer guys then, so this time we've got 2 Noble Knight Custennin. Custennin, if I control a Noble Arms spell card, I can special summon the card from the hand, which is always good. And a monster that's Synchro, Exi, or Link summoned by using this card as material, it gets the additional effect of if you can make an extra normal summon of 1 Noble Knight monster during the main phase of the turn, so that's always handy. We've also got a Noble Knight Ivan, which is your token generator, again once equipped with a Noble Arms card, so immediately going into Isolde or into an Xyz. I'm down to 2 Merlin. We were on 3. Can be very easily countered, of course, with any sort of Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler or whatever it is. That many different cards with different effects will stop this guy, but is effectively a lone fire bossum and will tribute himself for a Noble Knight card. Does have the effect in the graveyard as well of doing the quick play Xyz summon. Not that that effect comes up all the time. Still playing one Guinevere as well. This is a really important card in my opinion, and only one, because once you've got it circulating in you know, with between the hand and the graveyard, it will easily come straight back onto the field by equipping itself to a Noble Knight monster. But it's really important because obviously the extra 300 attack is nice, but it's really the effects that it gives it. Certainly on a light monster, if the equipped monster would be destroyed by card effect, I can destroy this card instead, so it gives you a little bit of protection. One of the newer support cards, of course, is Morgan. Great, beautiful looking card, especially in the Prismatic Secret from the Megatin 2019. This card is your sort of Omni Negate from your hand, but you must control a Noble Knight and a Noble Arms card in order to activate it. You do also have to, do we have to discard? I can't remember now. No, you don't have to discard. Excuse me, but it doesn't actually destroy the card that you've negated, so just bear that in mind. The only sort of non-Noble Knight monster, technically speaking they're not Noble Knight monsters, but they are, is the Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. Excuse me. If anyone who doesn't know what this one is, they're lovely in the collector's rare, by the way. But you can banish one equip spell from your field or graveyard, special summon this card from your hand. At the start of the damage spell, if this card attacks, you can equip one face-up monster on the field to this card, max one, as an equipped spell card that gives the card, this card, an extra 500 attack. And also, when a monster effect is activated, quick effect, I can send one face-up equipped card I control to the graveyard and negate the activation, and if I do, destroy it. Not bad when I'm talking this many sort of equipped spells in the deck. Speaking of which, coming up, we've got Noble Arms cards, and Noble Arms are plenty. So the first one is Noble Arms Caliburn, which when equipped once per turn you can gain 500 life points, but it also gives the equipped monster an extra 500 attack point boost. Really important because this card can actually be used a number of times within the same turn, assuming you're sort of re-equipping it, so you can very quickly sort of gain an advantage on your life points there. This second one of my favourites, this is Excalibur. When equipped, will give you your monster a targeting immunity, but also one that does come up quite regularly is the graveyard effect to banish and Xyz summon using the cards monsters that you control. One of the older ones, which is Noble Arms of Destiny, which is destruction protection once per turn. Sorry, the Excalibur is the only one that doesn't come back from the grave when destroyed and sent to the grave. The others so far do. One Gallatin, which gives you the extra 1,000 point boost on the equipped monster, decreasing by 200 for every one of your standby phases. Again, comes bouncing back. And the one Arthur which equips, and then you can pay 500 life points to target one set card and destroy. One of the newer ones, which is Noble Arms Clarent. This one allows you to attack directly. That's it for the Noble Arms cards, but then we've got the Searchers. So again, lovely Prismatic 2019 tin card, which is the Heritage of the Chalice, one of my favourite artworks. You've got Artorigus in the background there, and Custon in the foreground, and little Guinevere at the back there as well. You can just make her out. Again, this is your Searcher for either a Noble Knight monster or a Noble Arms monster, whichever you haven't got in your hand. So this is exactly what the Noble Knight deck needed, and an absolute 3 of. Got this card at 2 though. This is the Glory of the Noble Knights, which is a quick play spell, and you can equip one Noble Arms card to a Noble Knight you control, which is really, really good depending on the situation that you're in. I've got one Foolish Burial, which will send the Guinevere most of the time to the graveyard, so her effect is live straight away. It's a warrior deck, so of course reinforcement of the army, and of course a Monster Reborn. Last card of the deck is Until Noble Arms Are Needed Once Again. And again, in this rarity, you know, I can just about make it out there. Absolute fantastic artwork on this one. But it can excavate cards from the top of the deck equal to the number of Noble Arms equipped spells you control, and if you do, add one of them to your hand. Also, place the remaining cards on the top of your deck in any order. You can banish this card from the graveyard, except the turn it was sent to the graveyard. Special summon from your deck one Noble Knight monster with a different name from the cards that you control and in your graveyard. Super card, and more often than not, I'll use Borz's effect, depending on how many Noble Arms I've got in my hand. Borz's effect to actually send, grab all three, because Borz doesn't require different names. So you've got a guaranteed one in your hand, and then obviously you've got two in the grave, so you can use their effects later on. So that's the main deck. That's 41 cards. Honestly, I do love this deck. You know, there's no meta cards in here because this isn't a meta deck. But this is a great fun deck to play with, and actually a really good start deck for somebody who is just getting into the game maybe, or wants to get back into the game, because it'll teach you most of the mechanics. Certainly around the use of equipped cards, of course. But you know, with it having links and XEs in there, it's a good starter deck. The obviously extra deck is coming up, so here we go. This is Isolde, Two Tales of the Noble Knights. Absolute necessity in this deck, of course. Most people are familiar with Isolde, of course. The only other link I'm running is a Mekk-Knight Crusader Avramax. Most people aren't expecting this, but can be easily summoned when you've got you know, a number of XEs on the field, and will surprise your opponent every now and then. I've got two King of Artagus of the Noble Knights. This is the rank 4 that you'll most commonly go into, and this is the one that will allow you to destroy people's back rows, which is always quite amusing. The other rank 4, of course, is the newer one, which is the Sacred Noble Knight of King Custennin. This one's a bit more of a defensive play, but if it is destroyed, though, it will bring out another Noble Knight XEs anyway. This guy is probably my favourite. So this is the rank 5, which is part of the old combo with Madrort and Borz. But this is the one where you can drop material to destroy and target and destroy a monster on the field. The rest are sort of rank 4 utilities. So we've got Tornado Dragon, of course, for some back row removal, Stylish Paladynamo, Comic Hero King Arthur, which doesn't come up very often, but how can you run a Noble Knight deck without King Arthur in it? Evil Swan Exciton Knight, of course a number 39 Utopia, thank you very much Dark Magician for that one. And also Utopia the Lightning, of course, to go on top of him. And the last card is a fairly new addition, but given that we're going into XEs all the time, Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Actually not used him yet, but I know how devastating he can be, and again, if you're running an XEs deck, I don't see why we shouldn't be running him at the moment either. That is it for the deck, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. It's a bit of a classic one, in fairness. If you do have any questions, feel free to put them down below. Obviously a very fledgling channel, this one, so I'm not trying to hide behind it. You know, this is just a very sort of suck it and see sort of thing in terms of if people like my content. It's primarily going to be deck profiles, I'll be honest, given that I don't actually play an awful lot. I build a lot of decks, but I don't actually play an awful lot. You know, it's a good fun deck, this one, and I hope you have enjoyed it. But please do like and subscribe if you feel the need to. And there will be more deck profiles coming up. I'm currently running 24 current format decks. This being the third one that I've highlighted. They're always being changed and manipulated a little bit, but this one's it's fairly solid. Thank you once again. We'll see you next time. Cheers.